Welcome to Am I Famous Yet? This is chapter 39 called Putting on the Blazer. There is a distinct difference between being in the backing band and being up front in the spotlight. This phenomenon was explored pretty faithfully in the movie 20 Feet from Stardom. Years ago, one of the three singers in the Tokens left the group. The Tokens had a huge hit in 1961 with The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Lead singer Jay Siegel amazingly still does the falsetto part in the original key all these years later. Their stage costumes usually consist of three different yet brightly colored sports jackets. It's a smart, clean look that's easy to attain, maintain, and travels well. A buddy of mine who normally played and sang backup in the band was in active negotiations at one point to be, as he described it, to put on the blazer, meaning he was going to move up front and become an official Token instead of a journeyman musician. That promotion never ultimately happened, but the image of it has stayed with me. In recent years, I have found myself putting on the blazer with a classic rock act from the late 60s, early 70s, only in this case, the blazer is a leather jacket. In very short order, I discovered what it meant to wear the blazer rather than being a purely hired gun. People treat you differently. They have a fan energy about interacting with you. We sign autographs now and take photos with the fans. Music equipment manufacturers you may have known for decades are willing to work with you in a new and different way, adding you and your new credit to their website. Nothing fundamentally changed about who I am or what I do, but people look at me as if I have some newfound legitimacy. Never mind that I'm still very much a hired gun, even with my leather jacket on. My employment with said act is just as tenuous as any gig I've ever had, subject to the whims of band leaders, market forces, and other players actively gunning for my job. Still, for now, I wear the blazer. Let's explore a complicating factor in the modern music business when it comes to legacy acts such as the one I am now in. Acts like Blood, Sweat and Tears, Canned Heat, The Hollies, Iron Butterfly, The Little River Band, Quiet Riot, Thin Lizzy, Yes, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Foreigner, ELO, and UFO. This is just a partial list of acts that share a common bond. They all have somewhere between 0 and 1 original member left alive and actively touring with the group. At this point, their trademark has become their thing. The marquee value is higher for ZZ Top with all original members, same 3 guys, same 3 chords. But these other acts are quite capable of still working and making a decent living. The band I'm now in, I'll call Penitent Pastry, since it's an ongoing situation. The fate of this current version of the band is still up in the air. I'm not even listed on the band's Wikipedia page. There's a bona fide trademark owned by their one surviving original member. But since that founding member doesn't feel healthy enough for the rigors of touring, he has decided to put together a great band to play the repertoire. He very closely monitors our creative output to maintain the high standards of the group's legacy. This is also done with the blessing of the families of all the other deceased members of the band. It's the healthiest way I've ever seen a legacy act assembled or presented. When I was first asked to join the band, I went online to research the original members of the group and was struck by photos of the original bass player. His main axe was a 1970s blonde finish Fender Precision bass. My first bass was a 1970s blonde Fender Precision. Clearly, this was meant to be. I changed my strings to vintage-style flat wounds to better capture the original sound of the band and stuffed some dampening foam under my strings near the bridge to further this vintage vibe. Magically, my rig was transformed into a nearly an exact replica of the original. I spent many days transcribing and memorizing all the original bass parts and background vocal parts of the band's current 90-minute show so I could hit the ground running. There was to be very little rehearsal time. I needed to be fully operational right out of the gate. At the first rehearsal, there were immediate smiles all around the room. I liked them, they liked me, my prep work had paid off. When we started with this new version of the band, there hadn't been a Penitent Pastry tour in about 15 years. We were still in the process of discovering exactly what our marquee value currently was. We did a whole run of rock clubs where we managed to sell about half of the room in each market with no promotion or publicity at all. Everyone who came to see the band genuinely loved the show almost as much as we did playing on stage. The music is a joy to perform. The group is a pleasure to travel and work with. We're firing on all cylinders every night. It really is a dream come true. That said, there are still business challenges the powers that be are facing in keeping the group rolling down the highway. While the marquee value of the group is still being reestablished, it would probably benefit us to be on more soft tickets shows, so-called, i.e. an opening spot in a big arena tour, festivals, casinos, and the like. But that's the job of the management and the booking agents. Our job as a band is to show up and rock. That's it. We do our job and we do it well. On our last swing through the Midwest, one afternoon, I went to the back of the equipment van to help with the gear load in. Our road manager became quite grumpy with me when I tried to lift my amp and carry it into the club. "I don't want you lifting that. You play bass for a living," he told me. I was taken aback. Never before in my career had anyone said something like that to me. I work for a living. I've been lifting amps my whole life. But I knew what he meant, and I appreciated that he was looking out for me. If I break a finger on a road case while moving gear, the road manager and the whole band would have a serious problem delivering the contracted show for the evening. He was protecting his own job by protecting mine. Now that's a great road manager. There have always been naysayers in the world, sourpusses, curmudgeons. But in this digital age, there's a new breed of them in the form of internet trolls. Comedian Mark Maron calls them the army of unfuckable hate nerds. He's quite right. We get a lot of vocal pushback about our lack of original members or the understandable absence of our deceased former lead singer from a small but rowdy minority of the trolls. Somebody who's dead is unlikely to make the gig tonight, but we promise to do a bang-up job if you'll just sit back in the back of the theater, shut up, and watch. While our legacy is legitimate and our approach to the music is undeniable in its integrity, this negative chatter is hard to ignore. We as performing artists are constantly dealing with our own insecurities and trying our best not to suck in public. It's not always easy to ignore the negative Nancy's. Of course, that's exactly the attention they crave, and that's the very attention that we cannot and should not give them. Our job is to keep on keeping on, delivering a powerful and undeniable performance night after night. Then they can say whatever they like. We'll have enough friendly supporters who love the music as much as we do to keep the machine moving. I take solace also from the fact that I have even seen internet hate energy directed at solo artists whose marquee value is their own name. The hate nerds can't deny any connection to the band's trademark in those cases, but the haters are going to hate. So we have to keep on doing what we do and let them do what they do, sitting in their underwear behind their computers in their mom's basements, trying to soothe their psychic pain by inflicting it on others. Meanwhile, this band on stage is a snarling beast. There's absolutely no feeling quite like blasting pure musical energy right through the chest of every audience member and up into the rafters of the building. Cranking a power chord right down the gullet of everyone in the front row is a truly exciting and fun thing to do. Our music is loud, powerful, and deeply soulful. All the cats in the band are seasoned, experienced, and seriously on their game. It's definitely a situation where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. When we hit the stage blasting, we love the audience, they love us, we all love the music. A transcendent evening is upon us all. It's a special privilege indeed, which I feel very lucky to be a part of. Long live the pastry.